Hey there, welcome to River of Life Church. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Nicole.
I'm Tyus. Our worship team is going to get things started off in just a minute, but before we do that, we'd like to share a couple announcements with you. First off, we have a 70th wedding anniversary this week, so big congratulations to Peter and Rita Froese. 70 years is insane. Me and Nicole are almost done year one. 70 is a long way away. But yeah, we just thank you for your example and the marriage we get to look up to. We hope that 70 is the best year yet.
We also have Mother's Day coming up this week. And here at River of Life, we will be celebrating our moms and all the ladies in our church family and community by having a cinnamon bun stand in our parking lot on Saturday, May 8th from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Not only will you be able to grab a coffee or a tea and a delicious cinnamon bun freshly baked from Cinnamon Bun Co., but you'll also be entered to win a $100 prepaid Visa gift card. Super fun, so moms and ladies, come on out Saturday morning, and we're excited to see you.
Lastly, here at River of Life, we value doing life together. One of the ways that we do that here is through life groups, which are just groups of friends and families hanging out and spending time with God and with each other. If you are not a part of a life group and you would like to become part of one, email info@rolgreendale.ca and Pastor Josh will get you hooked up with all the information you need.
We know that you could be doing many things on a Sunday morning, and we're so excited and honored that you've chosen to join us today. We hope you engage in worship with us and can experience the full life that Christ has offered us all.
Good morning, church. We're glad that you're here today. We have a guest speaker today from the Cyrus Centre, and we're just really excited to see what God has been doing there over this last year, especially we know COVID times have made things difficult. So we also have a little bit of a invitation for you today as we kind of focus at least our worship set here today around God's faithfulness. We want to encourage you to put in the chat bar there on Facebook or on YouTube things that you have had in your life where God has shown you his faithfulness, when God has been faithful to you. So we will be sharing out some of those things at the end of the service, but we would love if people could share when God has really pulled through, when God's been faithful to you, and then that's the time when we can make a connection with each other here as we don't get to see each other as we normally would. So we just thank you for being vulnerable and for sharing out with everybody, and we're glad that you guys are here. As we start this service, I wanted to read just a little bit of Psalm 136. This was some scripture that Josiah had given us at youth this last week. We did something called a React Night, where instead of a normal youth night, we go around and we encounter God in different ways. So we read Psalm 136 as one of the sort of stations that we went to and talked about just the goodness of God, things that God has done. And so I'm just going to read the first few verses to you, just as a reminder of who God is, the characteristics of God, and how great his love is. So Psalm 136 starts like this: Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. His love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. His love endures forever. To him who alone does great wonders, his love endures forever. By who his understanding made the heavens, his love endures forever. Who spread out the earth upon the waters, his love endures forever. Who made the great lights, his love endures forever. The sun to govern the day, his love endures forever. The moon and stars to govern the night, his love endures forever. Too many
into darkness, your mercy came. You called me out, lifted me up. How great is your love. You bore my weakness, you took my shame, buried my burdens in fields of grace. Oh, you called me out, lifted me up. How great is your love. From the heights of heaven, you stepped down to earth. Innocent perfection, gave your life for us, and we are amazed. Yes, we stand in awe, for we have been changed by the power of the cross. How great, how great, how great is your love. How great, how great, how great is your love. how great is your love. How great, how great, how great is your love for us.
How great is your love for us.
Lord, it's just so awesome to be with you and to be in your presence this morning and to just sing of the love that you have for us, and to be able to be reminded of your faithfulness and your goodness, and it's just so good to be reminded of that. And Lord, I just pray that as we prepare for the message and for what Les has to say this morning, and Lord, I just pray that we would turn to you, and that our focus would be on you, that we would be offering of our lives to you, and as we sing this last song, Lord, before the message, that you would just that you'd be at the forefront of our minds and of our hearts, and that our desire, Lord, would be just to worship you and to give everything we have to you. And Lord, that starts with our heart. That starts with our heart and our mind and our soul, and goes out to actually our physical things that we do, and abilities and strengths and gifts that you've given us with. And Lord, I just pray that we would just refocus on you and be able to turn our eyes towards you and just give it all to you this morning. And again, I thank you for your goodness, and I thank you for the love that you have for us, and the way you take care of us, and just you do things for us that we don't even know. And I just thank you for that. Amen.
I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the things I've made it. When it's all about you, it's all about you, Jesus.
When the music fades, all is stripped away, and I simply come, longing just to bring something that's of worth that will bless your heart.
I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within,
Through the way things appear,
you're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made.
into that pre-chorus again.
I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, through the way things appear. You're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus.
I'm coming back to
The heart of worship, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, when it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord. Amen.
All right, we'll just leave that like that for now. Good morning, River of Life Church. I'm really excited for this morning. This morning we have a guest speaker in this morning to share with us a little bit about what God has been doing in his life and also what God's been doing in the ministry that he is a part of at the Cyrus Centre. And so our guest speaker this morning, which will come on your screens in a few moments, is Les Talvio. And he is the director at the Cyrus Centre, both here in Chilliwack and also in Abbotsford. And if you don't know what the Cyrus Centre is, it is an organization, it is a mission that works with at-risk teens and children. Teens really, but they work with them and they support them, they love on them, and they're open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And they just work with the students within our community, both Chilliwack and Abbotsford, that are at risk. And so this morning, I'm really excited about what Les is going to share in a few moments. And it's because, you know what? It is a ministry that is near and dear to the heart of the people here at River of Life Church. We have people within our church family that serve there weekly, monthly. We have people in our church family that also, you know, make meals for those there at the Cyrus Centre. And so it's an organization that we want to highlight because they are doing great things for God. And we also want to highlight them this morning simply because of the fact that we want to remind us again of how we can financially support them. Yes, we want to support them through prayer. We want to support them by serving, but we also want to say, you know what, God's doing some amazing things at the Cyrus Centre. We can walk alongside of them and support them financially. And we can do that both by going to their website and just clicking donate on their website, or you can do it through your regular Sunday morning giving and just say, you know what, we want to give to the Cyrus Centre. Add that into your giving. You know, when we do highlight Sundays like this, sometimes we get asked the question, why do we do them? We do them simply because why do we exist at River of Life Church? We exist to help people experience full life as Jesus Christ intended, loving God, growing together, reaching the world. And when it comes to reaching the world, we don't have this philosophy that it's River of Life's way or no way. No, we partner with ministries and organizations within our community and around the world that are reaching people for Jesus Christ, that are loving people with the love of Jesus Christ. And so that's why we partner with missions down in Mexico. We partner with missions in the Ukraine. We partner with organizations here at home like Teen Challenge, like the Cyrus Centre, like Ruth and Naomi's, because we see what they're doing to advance the gospel, to love people the way Jesus did. And we say we want to highlight, we want to let you know what's happening at these places. And so this morning, we're going to go to the screen in a few moments, and Les is going to share with you and me about what God's been doing at the Cyrus Centre. Last Wednesday, myself and Josh, we got to sit down and listen to this message because we pre-recorded it with him. And as we were listening to Les share time and time again, we hear about the faithfulness of God, both in Les's life and also in the life of the ministry at the Cyrus Centre. And so this morning, I want you to think about God's faithfulness for you and for me. And as you think about that, as you think about how he has been faithful, I want to challenge you with something. If you have your computer, your tablet, your phone with you, we want you to log in, go into the chat, and write down in our chat how God has been faithful to you over the last few months, over this last year, just something that you want to share with us so that we can be encouraged. And a little bit later on in the morning message, or after the morning message, we're just gonna read those out so that we can be encouraged about how God has been and will continue to be faithful. And so before I turn it over to the screen, I'm going to go to one of our favorite books of the Bible, the book of Lamentations, as Jeremiah, again, is lamenting as Babylon has come in and wiped out the whole city, and he's sitting there and he's lamenting, he's calling out to God. He says this in Lamentations 3:22 and 23. He says, because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. Like, despite the fact that they're totally wiped out, the city's broken down, he says, because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. Despite crisis, we're not consumed. For his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And so I just want to remind you of that here this morning, River of Life Church. And then we are just going to turn it over to the screens.
Good morning. It is really good being back here to share, albeit via video. I don't have to tell you how challenging this past year has been, because it has been for everybody. There is no one who hasn't been affected by COVID in some fashion or another. During this time, God has used it to extend his reach. For me personally, my brother and my sister who don't live in Chilliwack have been able to attend my church via watching services on live stream. And it's been really exciting. You know, on Sundays I'll get a call from either my sister or my brother and they say, hey, have you watched the service yet? And I'll say, yeah, I did. And they'll start talking about the message. Or I'll say, no, I haven't. I'm gonna watch it later. And they'll tell me, come on, hurry up and watch it. I want to talk to you about it and get an opinion. Or it's even extended the reach of the church from Chilliwack to other parts of the globe. It's been able to bring people in closer, even though they're far, far away. So while we may be restricted from attending church in person, the church hasn't been restricted in reaching the people. So it's been really exciting that way. Just while we may be feeling isolated. In fact, during these times, there has been a lot of isolation for many of us, and along with that isolation has come fears and anxiety. But we don't need to fear, because God is with us. In Joshua 1:9 in the Bible, it tells us that the Lord tells us, this is my command, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. We have nothing to worry about. God is using this to glorify himself. He's using these times to reach more people than probably ever before. And we should all take comfort in that. For me, this past year with COVID, in fact, since the last time I was here, had lots of ups and downs. Just before sharing here last year, I was involved in an accident where I suffered what they call a traumatic brain injury, most people would know as a concussion. And for me, that has had all kinds of ups and downs, emotionally, physically, psychologically. In fact, when I was here that day sharing, the lights in front of me, the sound of the worship before I came up, just people talking, mingling, made it really hard for me. In fact, I had to leave as soon as I did my presentation. I actually had to go home and lie in a dark room just to stop the headaches and the sensory overload that I was feeling. And during this past year, experiencing the effects of a concussion, effects that I didn't even know were possible or could be real, God threw me a life preserver, and I grabbed onto it. And it reminded me of the story where there's a flood and the guy, he climbs up onto his roof and he's praying to God, save me, Lord, I need you to come rescue me. And a guy comes by in a canoe and says, hey, come on, hop in my canoe. And he says, no, no. And he says, I'm waiting for someone else. And the guy leaves in the canoe, and another boat comes. This time it's a speedboat, and he turns the offer of help from down the guy in the speedboat, and helicopter comes along and wants to drop him a line, and hey, grab onto this and we'll pull you up. And he says, no, no, I'm waiting. I prayed for help and I'm waiting. And finally the floods overcome him and he ends up drowning. And he's up in heaven and he runs into God and says, hey, I waited for you to rescue me. What happened? And God said, I sent you help. I sent you the guy in the canoe and the speedboat, and I sent you a helicopter and you turned it down. Well, I too was praying for God's intervention, and he threw me a life preserver. I grabbed onto it, and it's really helped me in my recovery from, which I'm now experiencing what's called post-concussion syndrome. So being here today is actually my first time out presenting at a church since I was here last time. So for me, this is a bit of a victory that I can be here to share with you. So moving on from that, I just wanted to share that personal piece of what I've been going through during COVID, and I know many of you have had all kinds of different experiences as well, and have loved ones and friends all over who've had different experiences. But we know God is in control, and we know these times will be used for His glory. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. At Cyrus Centre, we've had to make changes in how we deliver some of our services. Changes like controlled access at all times, so we now have to control the coming and going people. In fact, the doors are locked at all times at Cyrus Centre, so we have to follow certain protocols and meet people at the door. We have to take their temperature, we got to record their names. This is for staff and for those requiring services. We have plexiglass shields up in certain places in the building. Socially distanced spaces. Our meals are now served to go. So dinner and lunch and dinner are served to go. The only meals that are inside are for those youth that are staying with us in one of the shelter programs. They get to remain inside and have a meal. But otherwise, those that count on that meal might be their only nutrition in a day. It is served to go. Our holiday meals that we share, like Easter and Christmas, we typically would have everybody in, and we'd have a big spread, a table out, and everything would be decorated, and all the food would be on the table. Everyone would, pass the potatoes, pass the turkey, pass the ham, whatever the case may be, and we'd share in gifts for the youth. We had to find a new way of doing that, and so we took Easter dinner last spring out on the road, and we had prearranged meet-up places and times with the youth, and we served 150 Easter dinners on the road. Staff and volunteers all came in, and we all took a certain amount of youth. We went to a prearranged place. We met in a social distancing way. We were able to pray for them for their meals, any fears, anything that's going on for them. We were able to present some gifts, and the staff said that was the most impactful thing for them that they've done during COVID. So we repeated that at Christmas. Same thing, we delivered Christmas dinners all over the place. We had some extra dinners, and we provided dinners for some people that we found living rough in different parts of the city. We had Christmas gifts for everybody that we had a meal for, and it was really an amazing time of showing Christ's love, but it was amazing how blessed we were as well in being able to do that and have the community support us in making this possible. We had to open up a new program in Cyrus Centre called the Switchback. And this is probably one of the biggest things that happened to Cyrus Centre in this past year. This is a supportive housing program for youth here in Chilliwack, and we can provide space for 22 youth. The city of Chilliwack and BC Housing bought a beautiful apartment building for us. The things happened so fast. We got a call in July to go look at a building to see if it would meet our needs for this vision that we had for youth housing. We went and looked at the building on a Thursday, and on the Tuesday following, the keys were handed to us. And they said, okay, you guys need to develop a program, and you need to hire staff, and you need to make this happen as soon as possible. Well, there were still some changes to make to the building. We now had to hire staff, train staff, create policies. Typically, this is something that would take 2-3 years to happen. It was now going to happen in just a few months. So a lot of pressure, But again, God provided us with the tools and the support and everything we needed to make this happen. And we were able to open up our doors and take our first youth in on December 21st. During the time of planning, there was this one youth here in Chilliwack who really stood out to me. I really had a soft spot in my heart. And I talked to the staff and I said, as we're planning the programs and the services at this new program, the Switchback, think of her and think, would this benefit her? Would she utilize this service? Would this service or program make a difference in her life? And so that's what the staff did. And on the 21st when we opened, we hadn't seen this youth now for a while. We hadn't had a chance to do the paperwork and the intakes that would be required to have her move in. And one of the staff was going home that night at about 6:30, and I was at home, and he called me. He said, hey, I just saw her at the park, so I stopped, and I got her in my car, and I drove her there. And he goes, she's home. And I wept. I was weeping with joy that this is someone that wanted in there so bad, and we got her in. We'll figure out the paperwork later. That can happen after, but we now have a home for her, and she's still there, and she's thriving. 8:30 that night, I got a call from one of the other staff that was working at the Switchback, and she said to me, everybody's home. And it was a hallelujah moment. It was just amazing to know that something that in a very short time, but a lot of time and effort went into planning this. So many people, all the staff worked nonstop to make this happen and to get the building outfitted. Different things, like I said, had to happen to make it all perfect, and it was opened. So you might be wondering why the name of Switchback. The Switchback is a path or a road that forms very sharp turns and changes direction from one way to the other, and goes up and down over hills, and it's much like the kids' lives. You know, their paths change from one day to the next. One day they're going this way, the next day they're going this way. Their lives are going up, their lives are going down. And you look at Chilliwack and the beautiful mountains, and you can see Switchback trails going up the mountains, and we thought, what a perfect name, the Switchback. So that's where the name comes from. We are now approaching full capacity. We will be, at the beginning of May, we will be at capacity in the programs, which will be 22 youth. It's a beautiful apartment building. It's not like some of the modulars that the government has built. This truly is home. In fact, when you walk in the door, the first sign you'll see is it says welcome home. But every apartment is outfitted the same as the next, including one apartment that is set aside as the resource room where we can offer life skills training for the kids. So our kitchen is equipped the same way as one of the youth kitchens, same pots and pans, same cutlery, same appliances. So we're comparing apples to apples when we work with them. One of the things we'll do is we'll deconstruct food hampers from the food bank, and how we can make meals and how we can make that hamper go a distance, and maybe what kind of groceries do they need to have on hand, what are some basic staple items they need on hand to enhance the food hampers. So that's actually been a really positive program where the youth might look at the hamper and think, oh, what am I going to eat? To all of a sudden realizing, hey, we can make some meals out of it and stuff that they actually like. So that's been a lot of fun, and also a lot of work for the staff involved in doing it. Every apartment comes equipped with a washer and dryer, so they have their own laundry. But again, many of them don't know how to do it, so the same laundry facilities are in our resource room, and we can show them how to do the laundry, how to use the machine, what settings to use in the machine. We have different housekeeping techniques and stuff that we work with them, and how to clean the carpet, and how to clean a stain on a wall or counters, and how to keep their room clean. Part of living there, they have to agree to a room check or suite check. So every Monday we do a check of their apartment with them to make sure there's no damage, to make sure that they're keeping up with their own chores that they need for their apartment. So it's been pretty exciting, and the kids they're actually really proud to call it home, and their interaction with the staff has been amazing. So when the door to the resource room is open, youth can come in, although we have to limit the amount of youth right now due to COVID, but they can come in, they can have a coffee. Sometimes they'll come in and sit on the couch and just read a book. and they just want to know that someone is present, but they don't want to talk. They just want to sit in a corner and read a book, or they'll come in and do a puzzle, or we'll have a games night. We're just in the process of fencing off the yard at the building, and we're putting in a gazebo and a barbecue area and a place that they can play games. Some of the youth are also young parents, so there are children involved as well, and it's a family atmosphere, and the staff have become so protective of these youth, it's their own children, and that really warms my heart knowing that these staff really love the kids. So yeah, that's been fantastic. Another new thing for Cyrus Centre in this last year since I've been here is another society. They run recovery houses for men, and they were about to fold, and I was talking to one of their staff, and they're been there for 17 years, and he was quite sad that they were going to fold, and asked why, and he said, well, their executive director quit, and the board didn't have anyone to replace him, and nor did they maybe have the energy to make things continue. And I just thought how sad to see us lose these beds, this inventory that for these guys that's making a difference. So I approached their board and talked to them, what about Cyrus Centre providing oversight? And after some discussions and prayer, Set Free Ministries is now Set Free, a program of Cyrus Centre, and we're managing the 2 houses. In fact, we're now looking for another house. We're looking for a approximately 5-bedroom house to rent. If you know of one, let me know. The house can be either in Abbotsford or Chilliwack. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be in the Fraser Valley. And this program is really about giving kids their daddies back, giving wives their husbands back, giving parents their sons back. Some of these guys have been on the streets for quite a while, involved in addiction. Some of them are also maybe new to the streets and have gotten entrenched on the streets, so they might not be living in addiction, but they are entrenched, and they are using and abusing drugs. We want to get them off the streets, stabilize them, and help them move either back with their families or into independent living of their own in the community. We've made some connections now with a couple of companies to provide employment for the guys while living in the program after they've gone through some of the program requirements. So that's really been exciting, and some of these guys in the house are the dads of some of the youth that we're seeing come through our program. So the connection was really neat. The connection, even their name, Set Free, just really fit with us from Isaiah 45:13, where it's about setting captives free, and we're having this new ministry as a program at Cyrus Centre, setting captives free. So yeah, that's exciting. What's new for us, or next for us, we're looking at starting a new program for youth that's skills-based, getting them ready for employment and being able to access employment. We're looking for space right now to operate a shop, again in the Abbotsford Chilliwack area, where youth can learn practical life and employment skills. We've talked to some tradespeople who will come in and teach them how to frame a wall. We'll be able to empower these kids to use hand tools and power tools. We'll teach them basic auto maintenance, or how to install taps or install a toilet, or to fix a leak in a toilet. Some basic skills that'll get them ready for work. Be able to go as a laborer on a job site and know how to use a hammer and a saw and a tape measure, a level and a square. We've been blessed with a donation of tools from a gentleman who decided to give up his shop, and also Fortin's is going to outfit us with some more tools. But right now we need the space to provide this program. It's going to be called On Track Garage, and it's about getting the kids' lives back on track. And it might also involve a little bit of racing at Mission Raceway with youth during street legal drags. So yeah, stay tuned for that information. Again, during this past year of COVID, God has looked after not just the needs of the youth and the staff, but also our safety. Not one single staff person at Cyrus has come down with COVID. during this time, and that, again, another hallelujah moment. He's kept us safe. I mean, there have been times when, kid you not, where all of a sudden someone's sniffling or someone's feeling under the weather, you know, what could be a seasonal allergy or a seasonal cold where you're thinking, oh no, they got COVID. And people are being isolated and getting tested. And I know I went through that as well, had to get tested and swabs stuck up my nose, and wasn't pleasant, but it also, we survive. None of us have had COVID, and that has been amazing. None of our clients or residents have tested positive for COVID either. We've had now 4 vaccine clinics take place at Cyrus Centre for the residents, and so that's been a positive outcome as well. It has really shown us this past year too in trusting God in all things, and it's been a real learning curve too for all of us at the Cyrus Centre to do that, because fear does creep in, and the enemy loves to exploit that. But in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, it tells us, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And yeah, God has been extremely faithful in doing that for us. Our ministry has grown this past year. I mean, it's crazy. When COVID hit, I have to be the first to admit, I was worried that this could really be damaging for the ministry, and we've lost all our fundraisers. We haven't been able to fundraise. You know, we haven't been able to have our banquets. You know, we typically have 2 banquets, one in Abbey and one in Chilliwack. Our Leap of Faith fundraiser had to be canceled just because of the sheer number of people that come out and support it. Our walk, we chose to cancel the walk because it went virtual, and the amount of requirement that they needed from us, we couldn't put in to doing it because of all the new stuff happening with the switchback and the planning with that. And Set Free, we didn't have the manpower to put it on. So we lost our fundraisers, and that was over $100,000 in fundraising dollars that we lost. But that same money came back to us in different ways. It was amazing to see how God blessed us. We didn't have a short, where we may have been short in the category of fundraising. If you look at our fundraising, say, oh my goodness, it's way down. Then in other areas, money went up, and it was the provision was there. God was there through all of it. So that has been a real, shouldn't be a surprise to any of us, but again, I have to say, I was worried at the beginning that this was going to hit hard for us in that way, but God has provided, and we've been able to bless these youth through the provision, and people have been continually being faithful. God has been faithful in keeping everybody safe. We've had our temporary shelter, which typically would run for 5 months, you know, November through the end of March. So in 2019, it actually opened a month early in October, and then it was supposed to close at the end of March in 2020, and it got extended for a few months, and then it got extended. Well, it's been extended now to April of 2022. So we've had extra beds this whole time, which has been absolutely incredible. We had a youth last year in March come to us. It was his 19th birthday, and he was discharged from care and was homeless and got referred to us. He spent his 19th birthday in a shelter at Cyrus Centre, where staff got him a cupcake with a candle and actually sang him happy birthday. Not a way you should be spending your 19th birthday. But since that time with us, he's come to the Lord, and he was baptized last summer, and which is amazing. He's serving God. He has his own apartment now. He's doing great, and we're just thrilled. We actually see him probably 4 or 5 days a week. He'll stop by and check in with us, and he'll want to know how he could pray for the staff, or he'll come in with, hey, you got to pray for this person or that person, this is going on, and it's been really exciting. And then this year, just after Christmas, we had a young girl referred to us, and she was pregnant, and there was nowhere for her to go. And kind of remind me of a very famous story out of the Bible. And no one would take her because she was pregnant. And so she was at Cyrus Centre, and while at Cyrus Centre, she went into labor. And one of our staff is a trained and certified doula, and who happened to be on with her and accompanied her to the hospital, which was she was taken by ambulance and gave birth to a healthy girl. We were able to put the word out for some of the needs that she had, and she now has the most beautiful above ground basement suite here in Chilliwack, nice and bright with a separate room for baby. Baby's room is all outfitted. They're doing great, and she has a lot of support right now. And but it was so awesome that we were able to say, yes, we have space, even though the space wasn't anything to write home about, but it was a safe, clean bed where staff were able to support her, and they were able to support her even during delivery of the baby. So yeah, exciting things have happened at Cyrus Centre. I'm just amazed at what God has done through the ministry. And I realize that God will do whatever he wants, and he will lead us, and we need to be willing and able to respond to his leading. And 2021, I mean, we're a third of the way through, but I know he'll be doing some more exciting things, and I'm just excited to be able to be here to share with you about it this morning. So thank you very much for having me, and just know we're all going to get through this together, and I look forward to when we can do this again in person. And I'm pretty sure it won't be too far in the distant future. So stay safe, stay healthy, and be kind.
Les, and that was awesome to just be able to hear of how God is continuing to work in the Cyrus Centre and work through them and provide, and just that message of faithfulness is pretty awesome. And in a couple of minutes we're going to be able to share some of the ways God has been faithful to us, and you guys have been putting already messages in on the chat and stuff like that, and please continue to do that. We'd love if we got to stop singing and just share what God is doing in our lives. That'd be totally okay with me too. So, but let's feel free to stand if you're sitting down or whatever you're doing, and let's just sing to God again this morning.
Same God who never fails will not fail me.
we just want to share a couple things with you guys that you've been saying that God has been faithful. And so we had Myra said, God has shown his faithfulness by protecting of my grandma while my mom recovered from COVID-19. Rob says, God has shown his faithfulness this past year by providing for our needs. We have been blessed with health, busy work, and a good year for the kids. Laura says, no matter what I'm going through, I can still feel his love and strength carry me. Josh says, good morning. We thank God every day for a beautiful, healthy baby. And I'm going to read more in a few more minutes. And so if you have things that you are thankful for, you can again, put them in our chat because we want to highlight those because God is faithful.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.
God is good. God is faithful. Let me just finish reading the rest of these. And if you have more, you can continue adding them. Debbie says, God has shown his faithfulness by witnessing youth being baptized in January and watching them continually stand up for what they believe, even in the midst of a messy world. Elsie says, I'm thankful for technology, which makes it possible to worship together, albeit loosely, stay connected, but we have technology, and so we're thankful for that. And she also says, praise the Lord, Rudy is doing well after his heart attack in January. Wendy says, God has been faithful to provide for us more than we expected after Gord semi-retired. Vic says, I'm thankful for God's provision. A year ago, we had little idea of how our business would be affected. All credit to God, business has been good. Holden says that he is thankful that his friends and family are safe. And Debbie again says, I'm thankful for God's constant reminders of how awesome he is. The mountains, the sunrise, the smell of the fresh rain for family and friends. God is faithful, church. And this morning, you know it in your life, and we've heard it from Les and what God has done through the Cyrus Centre this last year. And so as we go throughout our day, our week, let's remember how faithful God is to us. And when we are down, when we are in crisis, know that God is always faithful and he's always with us.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Yes, our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God.
We're going to sing that one more time.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God.
Have a great week, church.